A little-known Civil War battle happened to help shape one city here in the East.
In this week's People and Places with Pierce, we head to New Bern Battlefield Park to learn the significance behind the Battle of New Bern.
Just park your car and you're back in the 1800s.
New Bern Battlefield Park, home of the Battle of New Bern. It's a piece of Civil War history, virtually untouched by the sands of time.
Took place March 14th of 1862, so it was early in the war, and General Burnside, a Union general, mounted a campaign to capture New Bern. New Bern back then was the second largest city in North Carolina. It was an important port.
One of the things that makes the battlefield here in New Bern so unique is just how well preserved it is. These earthen mounds known as redans would be where Confederate forces held their position as Union forces came into the area.
A lot of the heavy fighting took place. You know, this is our battlefield right here.
The Battle of New Bern lasted just 5 hours. Confederate forces were overwhelmed, both in number and experience. They quickly retreated. It wasn't the longest battle of the war, but what it lacked in time, it more than made up for in altering the course of history.
New Bern was occupied by Union forces for almost 4 full years, and that changed the city in a number of ways. For the African American community, it's huge. Almost 10,000 slaves, when they found out that New Bern was occupied, came here. So this was a mecca for slaves who could get away from the owners in the South.
Nearby James City rose to prominence and became a model for slave assimilation into a free society. There's plenty for history buffs to like, but it's not the only way to truly enjoy the park.
The natural beauty is one thing. You have the swamps, the wetlands, a lot of wildlife, a lot of birds.
We have seen some wildlife, so that made it fun, made it more interesting, and made it more like what the soldiers would have run across.
Some just can't pass up the opportunity to walk in the footsteps of Confederate and Union soldiers 150 years later.
I think everybody should come at least once, school kids, adults, middle-aged, anybody who's interested in knowing anything about North Carolina. If you combine it with some of the other historical sites in the area that aren't far away, you've really walked from the 1600s to the 19th century.
For a city rich in history, New Bern Battlefield Park certainly ranks among its top treasures. In New Bern, Craven County, Pierce Legion, not on your side.
Next week's People and Places with Pierce takes us on a unique walk through the wetlands of Bertie County. Pierce is always looking for interesting and unique story ideas. If you have one, send him an email or connect with him on social media.